Alright, so we're about ready to put in the handle. And I wanted to try and keep it fairly simple. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to show basically kind of a real quick and dirty handle or concept at least. So you just take some of your smaller weavers, and with Willow is you can twist them on themselves and then form your handle. And then what you want to do is you want to find one of the junctions here, about here, and then you'd use your bodkin to force or to squeeze open a space, and then you would then stick your ends in through the opening that you create. All right, and then you would wrap them around themselves. Then you twist them, and then insert the ends on the other side here, and then wrap them or tie them to the frame. And that would be a real quick and dirty way to create a handle, with just using like a couple, or 3 or 4 smaller weavers. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually make a sturdier handle, and I've got a larger piece of willow here, and I'm going to go ahead and snip off some of these extra limbs, and then this will give me a much sturdier handle. And then what we will do is we will wrap them with the smaller ones. So what I can do here is I can just kind of work this and kind of bend it to kind of, again, train it to the shape we want. Yeah. And pretty much the height. Okay. So I want something about like this. So I'm gonna adjust the camera here. So I want something, kind of like this. And I can shove that in there like so. So I want it about this long here. So I'm gonna take my snips, go ahead and cut that. Some scrap for later. All right, and then I can get this all trained and get it all bent so it's got a nice U shape. And then I'm gonna stick these down in the side here. But before I do that, to make things easier on myself, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to put a point on the ends. That'll make it a little easier to shove these in between the weavers. Alright, I went on ahead and whittled the ends here to a nice little point, so it'll be much more easier to shove these in between the weavers. So I kind of want to find a place generally where the spokes that we folded down to create the rim come up, and I want to find that space here and then kind of work one end down up in there like so. Okay. And that'll stay for us for the most part. And then I'm going to take this side here and carefully bend this over to the opposite side. Nice place to insert this. Make sure it's even. Okay. And then we can continue to adjust the handle from there while it's still pliable. Oops. There. And for the most part, this is pretty. We could end it here if we wanted to, but it's not very secure. Meaning, when this dries, they may shrink a little bit, and then these will become loose. So what we want to do is we want to add some of our smaller pieces here and insert in. And we're going to wrap it around, which will add some decoration, but we'll use these as ties, and we'll tie it to the frame, and then that should make it permanently secure onto the basket. To secure our handle onto the body of the basket here, I've shoved in a smaller weaver just underneath the rim here, like so, and I want to bend this up, and then I'm going to start to just wrap this around. You could do this with 1 or 2 or 3 or 5, depending on how you can work them into the weave of the basket. And again, I'm just wrapping this around the main handle, and it just kind of adds for a decorative touch, as well as being able to act as a way to secure the handle onto the basket. So when we come to the other side, and I may put in another one that'll go the other way actually. I want to take this last piece here, and I want to work it in through one of the openings in the frame, and just kind of lash it to the frame. Bring this and pull this straight up. So, all right, and then on the other side, I can pretty much do the same. And really, all I really need to do with this is just tuck this back through one of the weavers. Okay, so I've decided actually to add another weaver, just to reinforce the handle here. And again, as you can see, I've kind of got this smaller weaver wrapped around the main handle and lashed them onto the rim, so that once this dries, it's not going to go anywhere. But I want to basically doubly reinforce it. I could leave it at this juncture, but I'm going to keep going with it. Make sure I have enough room to work with this piece that is sticking out of the rim. And then I'm going to go the same direction. I could go crisscross, but we'll see about going the same direction around. Oh no, this will end up crisscrossing. Or rather, I'll go the other way. Yeah, this will end up crisscrossing. That's okay. But it'll add a nice decorative look to it. Then, once we come to the end, I want to take this in here and stick it through one of the openings in the rim, like so. Pull it through, and then I can lash it, wrap it around, stick it through another one of the openings here to bring it through here. And this is really, I mean, professional basket weavers have got this down to a very, very fine art, and it'll look very, very pretty if I was a professional basket weaver. We lost some length there, but that's okay. We'll just tuck this down in here. Make sure. But yeah, like I said, the professional basket weavers got this down to an art, and I just want this to be functional. It'll look somewhat decent, but it won't be anything like what someone who does this for a living would do. And that's okay. It's a whole nother lifetime to perfect this art of basketry, especially working with this material, which is really cool. So Willow's really, really cool. Okay, so this is what we have. It's pretty sturdy. When this dries, it'll become rock hard. Very rustic looking, which is what I kind of like about it. It's pretty somewhat, and more than that, it's serviceable. So with this technique, I could weave a fish trap out of this. I could weave different shapes of basketry. You know, could make shelving, possibly even clothing like shoes or something like that, sandals. So, you know, your imagination is the only limitation with, you know, being able to learn to weave with this with Willow. So at any rate, it's you know, it's okay. This is real quick and dirty tutorial, just to archive, and I have the information. A couple of points here. Now, I ended up the weavers on the side here, I ended up snipping them on the outside. Actually, you might want to just work these through when you're weaving this around, and snip them on the inside of your basket. It's not a big deal either way. I just want to make sure I snip them close enough to the edges so I'm not hooking myself or getting them hooked onto anything. So that'd be the only change or only thing that I would do differently if I was to do this again. But anyways, there you go. It's just a real quick Willow carry basket with a handle.